Tell them I'm a winner, yeah, the believer. Give thanks, so when me I bleed. Set speed, I carry on now. Big man in town, them shoulda know say me I keep it crown, yeah. Plant seeds, work feed. Well, enough of them want ready born. When the food gone so long, them run. And them can't be found. Still man fight the fight, me not give in. Day and night, me keep on building. Way of life, me breathe out, breathe in. Oh, 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 oh. Tell them I'm a winner, yeah. Not pop down, not Joe, not turn in a sinner. Oh, man still a believer. Even if me get knocked down, me keep the bounce. Now see me front, you got me from a little and I grow.
Good evening and welcome to Prim and Proper Sports. I'm your host, Sonia, and I have my friend who's been doing his show for a while. So you haven't seen him in a while, but he's made some time for us to do a very limited edition of tonight's draft show. Mike Tipton of the Tipping Point. Tip, how's it going?
It is going fantastic. Thank you. I'm glad to join you here again. I know it's been a while, but I'm back.
Listen, the voice, the myth, the legend. He is here. And we are here to talk about these first few picks of the draft. I'm super excited. Congratulations, as noted, Cooper Flagg. But before we get into all of that, Tip, tell everybody how to find you because it's been a little bit of a while here. Let everybody know how to find you and all the shows and stuff you got going on here.
Yeah, Monday through Friday, I have the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton. That's on National Streaming Sports. We do that at 8 a.m. Mountain Time, so 10 a.m. Eastern. You can always follow me on Instagram as well at Mr. Tipton33. That's on all of the social medias at Mr. Tipton33. And I also have a show on Saturdays called Fire and Ice that we do live from Buffalo Wild Wings. Shout out to Buffalo Wild Wings for letting your boy do his crazy stuff from over there. That's every Saturday at noon Mountain Time, so 2 Eastern Time that we do that show. So yeah, come check it out. It's always a fun time. I'm one of the weird guys. I don't take anything seriously at all. So my show goes off the rails real quick.
Off the rails is always the fun time. Always the fun time. Of course, even though we said the hypeness really wasn't around the draft, Tip, I mean, both of our teams had some drafts early on here. Of course, Cooper Flagg, not the Mavs being my team, but Duke, of course, being my team. Congratulations to Cooper. Going number 1 as projected to the Dallas Mavericks. He was up there in rare form with his mom and dad. His mom, a legend in her own right, and only the second player from the state of Maine to ever go into the NBA draft. The last being in 1984, and from his hometown there, the Pine Tree City, 3,100 population. Congratulations to Cooper, now a Dallas Mav.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, right? It's like there was no drama about who was going to be the number 1 overall pick this year. Like the NFL draft, there was a little bit of drama. There was a little bit, maybe it wouldn't be Cam Ward, maybe it would be somebody else. There was none with Cooper Flagg. This was the consensus number 1 overall pick. And if you saw the kid play, you understand why, right? And if you haven't seen any college basketball, I will just let you know right now that this kid, Cooper Flagg, is the real deal. And that pains me to say that as someone that's like a Texas Tech / North Carolina fan, aka Duke hater, like to give this dude his flowers. He's not there no more, so now I feel like I can give him his flowers. But this is a legit dude, and it takes the Dallas Mavericks from being like a middle of the road team to being a team that you really got to look out for going here into this next season.
Yeah, of course, Cooper's extremely happy. His mom and dad and siblings were there. I didn't even realize Cooper was a twin. He has a twin that has committed to, I think it's Bear College or something like that. But they are seem to be very, modern yet very simple life people that just enjoy being quiet, and just to themselves, very unassuming, not super duper, over the top or at all. And his talent clearly speaks for itself, for him. And, like I said, basketball is clearly in his DNA, Tip.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like he was talking I don't know if it was Good Morning America or if it was the Today Show, but he was on there for a little while and they were talking about like, him playing one-on-one with his mom in the driveway. And the fact that he he never beat his mom at one-on-one. And she, that shows like what type of legend she is. I also I want to ask you this, because I think about it all the time, right? Like my brother, God rest his soul, he was 6'5", and he had all the athletic ability. I'm all of 5'10". You know what I mean? So I could imagine what it's like to be Cooper Flagg's twin brother, watching him get drafted #1 overall. I kind of feel bad for him, like knowing that he has a twin now.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, how does that work? That your twin, twins usually have double the power. It's kind of like Wonder Twins activate and things like that. But it looked as if that's not the scenario here with Cooper and his brother. I mean, but I don't know. Do you feel some sort of like tug that, hey, I should have been better? I mean, I don't know how to think about that. Or do you just be proud and you're like, because are there any twins in the NBA? I've never thought about that. We know there's some that have played in the NFL.
There's been a couple of twins in the NBA. As a matter of fact, I know that there were a couple that were drafted back to back to Detroit, and I want to say Houston. Like I can't remember the names at the top of my head, but like we had Markieff Morris and Marcus Morris were in the NBA. Brooke Lopez, Robin Lopez. Like there's been a couple of them that we've seen. Horace Grant and Harvey Grant going all the way back.
Oh yeah, how can I forget the Grants?
So for me, it's like there is that twin gets to go to the NBA thing. And this isn't the first time, because let's remember, Blake Griffin is a twin as well. His brother didn't get drafted to the NBA. So there's always that. Like I always feel bad for the one twin that can't make it. Even if you make it and you're not as good as your brother, at least you made it. If you didn't make it, man, that's got to be a terrible feeling.
It's like, are you the runt of the litter? Is that how you look at it? Would you look at it like that if they're not there?
Like, how crazy would it be? Cooper Flagg's like 6'9", his twin is like 6'1". Like, how crazy would that? Like, obviously, it's not the case, but like, I think of it this way, because I have a friend. His name was Matt Wilms. He played at UTEP. He was 7'3" and didn't make it to the NBA. And I'm like,
you got some really tall friends.
Ryan Hollins used to play in the NBA as well. Him being 7 foot tall, like right on the dot. Like again, being 5'10", they're a full foot taller than me. It's crazy.
Yeah, literally.
But I think about it, like you're 7'3". 1 out of every 7 people that are 7 feet tall has played in the NBA, and you're one of the 6 that didn't. Like that's got to be such a bad feeling.
You're stuck with that. Like that's literally like you are the oddball, but in a bad sense. Like you don't want to be the exception to the rule in a bad sense. You want to be the exception to the rule in a good sense. I was looking at all the emotion, it's certainly, I mean, some of the moms that were there crying and things like that. Of course, the hard work that put in Bahamas stand up with VJ getting drafted. I mean, she talked about how they literally came from nothing. Sometimes I look at these moms and it makes me think about, they clearly indicate, some type of either single family in one way or another. And so these draft picks have worked hard. I got the show actually turned on before everybody started getting drafted, Tip, because I wanted to see the behind the scenes thing of what was going on and to, kind of just get the feel, even though it's so quick that this goes by. But to just see all of the emotion, and these guys are really wearing some amazing suits. Of course, your number 2 pick, let's go ahead and talk about him. Dylan Harper, son of Ron Harper, definitely went in and was chosen to go to your Spurs. So congratulations, Tip.
Thank you. Like I said in the show earlier today, whenever we were on the National Professional Sports Show,
hello.
Because RM Dizzle is like, man, y'all doing this again? Of course we're doing it.
Yeah, it's my show, Dizzle. Where you been?
I'm excited about it because it gives the Spurs another wing player. That's kind of what their depth was. They needed depth at the bigs and they needed depth at the wings. They got themselves another wing player. He's going to be able to come in and start for the San Antonio Spurs right off the bat. And again, the Spurs are doing what the Spurs do best, and that's building the team from within. I was so worried that they were going to think that their window is now. I don't think their window's now. I think their window's going to be in the next couple of years, but they're going to be a playoff contending team from now on. Dylan Harper is a game changer for the San Antonio Spurs because you got De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle. It doesn't matter who you put at number 4. It's probably going to be Mamu Dashilishvili, and then you're going to have Wembanyama as well. Like that to me is such a great starting lineup. Now it's just all about adding depth to the San Antonio Spurs.
Absolutely. And they has now picked the first 10. So congratulations again. The number 3 pick went to the 76ers, and they picked up Mr. VJ Edgecombe, of course, the guard out of Baylor. He was the one, the Bahamian native, stands up. Congratulations to his mother, his brother, and their entire village. They talked about him playing against grown men on the island, and they asked, Monica McNutt asked, when his brother witnessed that, his brother said, he had a belief in himself when no one else saw it. And, at the end of the day, you have to believe yourself even when the naysayers don't. And honestly, that kind of inspired something in me. It just made me think about, you want to be the best at whatever you're doing, even when it's difficult, because you are the one that's pushing yourself. So congratulations to the 76ers. What were your thoughts on that pick with VJ Edgecombe?
Like that again, I think it's a huge pick for him because he's such a phenomenal athlete. Like again, whenever your comparison is Russell Westbrook, you know that you are one of the top tier athletes ever, like to have ever laced up onto the basketball court. So for me, like I think that's a great pick for the 76ers. It's just the 76ers franchise always feels like it's been snake bitten a little bit, right? Like Joel Embiid can't stay healthy. Paul George, we know, is made out of glass. The process seems to have fallen apart. So maybe this can be something that helps them not just like be a playoff contender, but maybe they can win in the first round. Maybe they can win in the second round. But if like with that team, it's all about health. If that team can stay healthy, they're going to be a phenomenal team. And then like hearing about his story, like you said, playing against grown men and stuff like that, it reminded me of like my upbringing. Like people don't realize this, at 5'10", I'm actually really good at basketball. I'm just really short compared to most basketball players, right? And
yeah, they never see you coming.
I grew up, playing. I was 12, 13 years old playing with grown men on the basketball court. And my brother made sure to tell them not to take it easy on me because they wanted me to be good. And even, playing high school ball, playing, city leagues and stuff like that. Midnight basketball. I don't know if you remember midnight basketball.
Yes.
Basketball was my thing. And for me, I was so excited about like that because they taught me how to play ball the right way. Like how to, you're good. Even if you're the smallest guy on the court, you got to find a way to make it happen. And that's
like
one of
the
the things that's going to help out Edgecombe as he gets on here as well.
Yeah, I like that. It's kind of like playing and one ball there, Tip. I mean, you have to think about it like, we used to call it street ball, but honestly, that's how you box out, you make the big plays, and you make sure that you play defensively and offensively. And at the end of the day, that's how you actually learn how to play the game. It's so weird. People kind of get away from that with all the refereeing and things we have of this day and age. But at the end of the day, that's the original way that everybody learned to play basketball.
Can I give a shout out to someone right now? Seeing the comments.
Absolutely.
We got my guy Tommy Carranza, TC915, that tuned into today's show here on Prim Proper Sports. He's a Dallas Mavericks fan. He was so jaded by this team because they traded away Luka Doncic that he didn't watch any of basketball outside of them trading Luka Doncic. So as soon as that happened, he was done with basketball. And he said that if the Mavericks drafted Cooper Flagg, he'd be back in on the Dallas Mavericks. So it's glad to see that he's going to get to love basketball one more time until the Dallas Mavericks trades Cooper Flagg.
I'm super excited that Cooper is bringing the energy. That's what KP was saying here at the table. Big, oh my goodness, the panel here tonight. Big Perk, he was talking about how, the boos have now turned to cheers again for Mavs fans because of Cooper, because they could not believe that, they got rid of Luka Doncic. And I honestly couldn't either. Yeah, I know that's still a tough subject for you, Tommy. Thanks so much for checking in tonight. And always great to have you on the show. But I mean, that's absolutely what it is. It's about bringing the thrill back, trying to bring the momentum back. And let's hope that he actually shows to bring what they actually are standing in need of. Because at the end of the day, God forbid it's less than what they thought, then they're going to be back to being mad because they're going to feel like, okay, we traded him away and we still are not in a good position. So,
I think Cooper Flagg with Anthony Davis can kind of fill that void that Luka
Mhm.
left. Like now you traded away a guy that you thought was going to be there for 10, 15 years. Now with Cooper Flag, you have a guy that you can feel is going to be the next franchise guy. But it's always going to be in the back of their mind now as Dallas Mavericks fans. You
Yep.
traded away Luka Doncic. You can
You
trade
and
away anybody. Like you can trade away anybody. But I feel like this is going to be an exciting team to watch. Again, I don't think they're going to be a championship contending team, but they're going to be fun to watch. And you're going to have 3 teams from Texas, Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio, that are going to be fighting for playoff positioning as we get later on in the year. It's going to be so much fun.
Cooper Flag was actually the 2025 Naismith winner of the year. But not only that, Tip, he is known as the most outstanding freshman in Duke history. And that is saying something big. To put him ahead of, Grant Hill and Kyrie Irving and all these greats that have come through that franchise. And keeping it with Duke, the number 4 pick went to the Charlotte Hornets, my second NBA team. Congratulations to them for keeping Con Knippel. Definitely the forward out of Duke, the number 4 pick. He stays at home just right down the road. Charlotte and Durham about an hour apart. So how exciting that his family can now actually attend games in person. And the Hornets actually have been in, third worst season in the league. I mean, third worst. LaMelo Ball just not looking good at all. They lost like 60 some games. It was really, really bad. Third worst record in the league. How much of an impact do you think Khan brings in? I mean, he's still new at it, but he's definitely known for both sides of the ball performing extremely well.
It helps out LaMelo immensely, right? Like it gives LaMelo someone that can shoot the ball, because that, like, it's very rare that you watch a couple of teams in basketball and you're like, this is just bad basketball. And this year it was the Wizards and it was the Charlotte Hornets. Just they were bad teams overall. Maybe even the Utah Jazz we can put in there. But now it gives LaMelo Ball and the Charlotte Hornets another scoring option, right? Like I don't think he's going to be in there and like average 20 points a game or anything like that, but he gives you a knockdown shooting presence, because we saw at Duke, he's a big moment guy. He's not afraid of the pressure. He can shoot the ball. And I think that that's what he's going to give. The one thing that I would question with this pick is he's not great defensively. His lateral footwork isn't necessarily there, but if you need someone that's going to help you shoot the ball, that's exactly what you get with Con Knippel. And I think it's a great pickup for Charlotte, because again, you're going like you want the fans to be excited about something. Charlotte, not that far away from Raleigh and where Durham is, they're going to have a lot of fan favorites there that go down there simply to watch Con Knippel.
That's true. That's true. And it's about the revenue as well. And I didn't even think about from the fan aspect. He's built his own fans there, even there as a freshman, Tip. Brief time there, but he's going to have, friends and whatnot that are following him just up down the road, actually down the road, 85 South, 40 to 85 coming from the Raleigh-Durham area. So congratulations to him.
And you know what it shows you? It shows you that, like, because going into the NCAA tournament, no one was looking at Con Knippel as like a draft pick. And he balled out in the games that he balled out in, and he was able to capitalize on being himself. Like, I would have not thought of Con Knippel as a top 5 draft pick. The fact that he goes number 4 to Charlotte, that shows that he balled his ass off to get to where he needs to be.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what I was thinking. I was just like, whoa, like I don't even know if I probably had him maybe number 9 or 10, and that would have been pushing it. But he clearly, and it says a lot about the Charlotte Hornets that they actually kept someone home. I always respect when teams can keep draftees in their same respective zip codes and locations.
So I'm keeping up with the NBA draft right now, and I saw, and this is what I wanted to kind of talk about earlier on the show. We just didn't have enough time. Was what Phoenix was going to do with that number 10 overall pick from the Houston Rockets, obviously trading AD, right? Or KD. They get Dylan Brooks, which is a great defensive guy to have on your team, great glue guy. And they get Jalen Green, which is a guy that can put the ball in the bucket. Like, we know he's a bucket getter. And then what are you going to do? How are you going to help this team out? You get yourself a defensive anchor, another guy from Duke. 3 Dukies going in the top 10 right now.
Yep.
And Maylock going over to him. I think that's huge. Again, I think this trade, even though people are going to say it helps out Houston and the sexier name goes over to Houston with Kevin Durant, I think this trade is going to be one-sided whenever it comes over to Phoenix. that it helped them out immensely, giving them talented guys and then giving them a 7'2" center that can just anchor that defense. That doesn't have to be the number one guy like DeAndre Ayton had to be a few years ago. Now you got Devin Booker, you've got Dylan Brooks, and now you have Maylock there. You got Jalen Green.
Mm-hmm.
The Phoenix Suns are going to be, again, another fun team to watch.
Yeah, and with that though, they did not trade. Houston just picked Kamani Maluk for number 10. So he's standing on the stage crying.
Well, it's Houston's pick that got him, but the trade isn't going to the Kevin Durant trade doesn't go through until July 6th. So as soon as July 6th comes, that's whenever all that's going to be traded out.
Wow. So is Kaman going to?
He's going to be going to Phoenix.
That's crazy. You know, I was thinking that that the trade would be kind of like in the NFL. You see it switch out, and then all of a sudden, oh wow.
If it was pick for pick, then yes, it would be that way. But because you have a player who's under contract, you have to wait until the new season begins on July 6th.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. And not only that, speaking of that, June 30th actually begins the official trade season. So we're going to see more people move around beyond this couple of days that we are seeing here with the draft. Number 5 pick went to Ace Bailey. Tip, you and I talked about him a little bit on the earlier show where we felt like he was trying to taint his draft to go to the Wizards. And he was picked 1 pick ahead of the Wizards by the Utah Jazz. And even in his interview, the confidence, they actually talked about it. It exuded just a normal interview there because he spoke about how he's trying to bring something to the table. Ace Bailey, number 5, Utah Jazz, Rutgers.
Like, without all the drama, I think it's a great pick. With the drama, I got questions, right? And I even said this, like, I would draft him ahead of Washington just to dangle him out there and be like, what can I get from you guys? Because we know this is your guy.
Like a carrot.
I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of today, there's some sort of trade that's worked out that sends Ace Bailey over to Washington. Like, I would not be surprised if that happens. If Utah winds up keeping him, it's not going to help them out a whole bunch because Utah is a bad basketball team. I went to Utah on March 3rd. And I watched the Detroit Pistons versus the Utah Jazz. And the Detroit Pistons absolutely waxed that ass. And it was not it wasn't a fun game. It was a bad game. And you can see the crowd. It was like maybe 15 or 20 of us there. So for me, it was, like, it's a good pick. Like, maybe it helps them out down the road. But, man, that if I'm the Jazz, I'm trying to trade him away to Washington, see as much as I can get from him.
And you know what, TC, that's exactly what we said, that he was literally mimicking the way Shedeur Sanders tanked his own thing. I mean, not doing the workouts, but at least Shedeur is doing his workouts. Like, this guy, Ace Bailey, was not showing up to these workouts, canceling them at the last minute. Do me a favor, Tip. Explain to our audience who does not know how the draft/trade works, because that was something new that you just broke to me. And so I'd like our audience members that don't know that just because a player is drafted tonight doesn't mean they're actually on the team, like how the NFL is. Explain that a little bit for our audience, because I have a lot of fans that are probably DM me later and ask me to explain stuff. It happens all the time. So I'd rather ask you.
No, yeah, and I'm happy to answer this. So whenever you have a draft, if you trade just draft pick for draft pick, you swap picks, then it happens that way, right? Like, you get to go to this team right away. Think of it like the Kobe Bryant trade for Vlade Divac, right? Kobe was drafted by the Charlotte Hornets. It had to wait a little bit for him to become an LA Laker. That's the exact same thing that happens here. So if you have a contract or a player that's under contract that you're trading, that trade does not go through until the league year starts, which is going to be July 6th. So even the Drew Holiday trade, that's not going through until July 6th. Kristaps Porzingis, that's not going through until at least July 6th. So everything that's happening here, even though Maylock was drafted by Houston, come July 6th, you're going to see the pictures of him in his Phoenix Sun shirt and his hat and all that, because that pick was traded by Houston to Phoenix for Kevin Durant. And because it was traded for Kevin Durant, we have to wait till July 6th for this. It sucks that it's that way. I would have preferred to have seen we all know it's going to be that way, so I don't understand why they have to do the pomp and circumstance of this. It's just the
Yeah.
way the NBA does these things.
That is so crazy. No wonder the commissioner's getting booed. But I did see Cooper Flag is going to be wearing number 32. I saw his jersey unveiled on the sideline. So, barring any surprises there, Tip, because the way you just explained it, who knows? We may see some other blockbuster trade, and then Cooper's not a Mav. I mean,
Well, that's why you see with the NBA, whenever they have trades on like deadline day, they don't say they traded this player. They say they traded the draft rights to this player.
yeah, they did. They did. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Shout out to the Brooklyn Nets who have 5 picks coming up here. They've picked one in their number 8 spot. We'll get to that. Tip and I are just covering the top 10, and then we're going to let you guys reprieve for the second half of the draft because we're doing an abbreviated show. Tip, thank you so much again for joining me as always. Let's go to the number 6 pick, the Wizards that we talked about. That is none other than Trey Johnson out of Texas. That's the number 6 pick, and the Wizards got him. I definitely, I mean, are you impressed about that? You know, what do you think about that pick? He's coming from right there in Texas.
It's a good pick. You got a good player. You got what you needed, the best player that was available to you at that position, right? And Johnson he's going to do what he's going to do, right? The Wizards are just so bad. And the Wizards did a good thing earlier this year by trading away how do I put it? The Wizards had a lot of young players that were surrounded by veterans who weren't good NBA veterans, right? Like you had Kyle Kuzma, who was your veteran. You have Jordan Poole, who's your veteran. And both of those guys are extremely immature to be leading your team. So what did the Wizards do? They trade away Kyle Kuzma. They bring in Chris Middleton from the Milwaukee Bucks, a guy that's won a championship, a guy that was a number 2 on a roster. And now they're trying to just rebuild this team. Is it going to make a huge difference in the Wizards' standings? Probably not. They're probably still going to be the worst team in the NBA, at least in the Eastern Conference. But it's the right pick for them because it helps them out getting the best player that was available at that position.
That makes sense. And the East is wide open with all the Achilles injuries that we've seen these big guys go down that are going to be out at least the majority of next season and maybe not even make the playoffs because the Achilles injuries are so like what a catastrophe that all these big names go down with the exact same injury. We definitely wishing them all well. Number 7 pick went to the New Orleans Pelicans, who have committed to keeping Zion at least for now. They've picked up the sharpest suit in the draft. There was another guy, I didn't get his name. He had on like a lavender suit as well with some white on it. But this Jeremiah Fears outfit, that crimson red was absolutely stunning. Out of Oklahoma, the Sooners. So he's representing the colors there. He is now the number 7 pick for the New Orleans Pelicans. What were your thoughts on that, Tip?
The Pelicans got themselves a guy, right? Like I know we were joking about it earlier. Like the Pelicans, they have this new GM that comes in and he's like, "Oh, we're going to build around Zion." I think all of us see it's time to move away from Zion, and I think Jeremiah Fears is that kind of guy. Like he can be the type of guy that gets people excited. And like my guy Tommy Carranza, he's a huge Oklahoma fan, so he's got to be happy about this. And for me, again, the Pelicans are such a bad team that it's not going to make a huge difference in the standings. It's all going to depend on what happens with what they build the roster around, right? We just saw that they traded away CJ McCollum. So now, and I think that the writing was kind of on the wall. If Jeremiah Fears was there, they were going to go ahead and get themselves a guard that can shoot to replace CJ McCollum. It's just the Pelicans are so bad that that Johnson, Fears, Ace Bailey, like these dudes are going to have to they're going to take a lot of lumps before they can get up to where they want to be as a playoff contender, because those 3 teams that we mentioned, the Jazz, the Wizards, and the Pelicans, and even going over to like Conca-Nipple, the Hornets, all these teams are so bad that they have a lot that they need to do, but it's good building block pieces that they need for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen that. We're waiting on Porzingis to come to the Hawks for Trae Young later on. But like you said, that's got to kick in for July 6th. Of course, Kyrie Irving delaying his player option, but taking the lesser with a $43 million contract extension. So that's going to be, I guess, all that'll take effect here next week. July 6th is coming up really soon. So happy 4th of July early in advance to everybody. Let's go on over here to the Brooklyn Nets, grabbing one of their first of round one picks. They have 5, like we talked about earlier. They got Edgar Deming, the guard from BYU. Now the Nets have been very blessed in having all these drafts. What were your thoughts on them grabbing Edgar?
Again, like it's the best player available to you, right? Like that's what the Nets are doing. Again, a bad team, like they've this first part of the draft, right? Like Houston, San Antonio, Dallas. Seeing them pick that high is not normal, right? Because like we can see that these teams are on the come up right now.
Hi, Ryan.
For Brooklyn, again, it's a good pick for them. It's a part of the building block of getting to where you need to be. If you're a Brooklyn Nets fan, don't be putting a lot of money in this thinking that you're going to win a championship within the next couple of years. You still got a lot of building that you need to do, and that's because of the Brooklyn Nets being handcuffed over the last couple of years because of all the assets they gave up to get James Harden, to get Kyrie, Kevin Durant. Like they're still having to deal with the outcome of all that stuff as well.
Yeah, it's like it's almost the kinship of paying your credit card bill, but then turn around paying your credit card bill to pay all your other bills. So now your credit card bill is due again. And that's what's happening. They're literally, as they say, robbing Peter to pay Paul. We're going to get to your question in just a second. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us. Let's wrap up the last 2 of the top 10. The Toronto Raptors, number 9, Colin Murray Boyles, the forward out of South Carolina for Toronto. Now, Toronto's been kind of quiet over the last season or two. I just don't, imagine them making much of a noise with this pick. I don't know what to think of this one, Tip.
Teams pick in the lottery for the most part because they're bad teams, right? So it means that they're more than just one player away. Like in Dallas's case, Dallas got there because they were the last team to make it into the play-in tournament. They win a game in the play-in tournament, and luckily for them, they're able to be the number one, get the number 1 overall pick. That's a different scenario. The same thing with the San Antonio Spurs. They're not terrible, but they're not great. Like their odds to get the number 2 overall pick, I think, was like 3%. The same thing with Dallas. I think their odds to get the number 1 overall pick was like 1.2%. So like them being at this position is the outlier. Toronto is, again, another bad team that's just putting the building blocks together. I love this pick for them because it gives their fan base something to get excited about. Like he's a good player. He's going to be able to put the ball in the bucket. I equate him to, like, I don't want to say Tyrese Halliburton because I think Tyrese Halliburton's ceiling is really high, but he's a Tyrese Halliburton style of player.
That's actually really good. Wow, I never even thought about that. That's this is why I have Tip on, guys. He breaks it down all the way down.
I am such a basketball nerd. It's not even funny.
Yes. I'm so glad. Listen, I'm so glad we have you on. Let's go ahead and cover this last of the top 10 picks. And it is none other than the Houston Rockets from Phoenix via Brooklyn. Kaman Maluk, the center out of Duke. So Duke's got 3 players in the top 10. And this is the player that you kind of alluded to a few moments ago. So give us your overview of that, and then we'll get to Ryan's question here before we wrap up.
I think this is a tremendous pickup for the Phoenix Suns. Again, you have Devin Booker, you brought in Dylan Brooks, you brought in Jalen Green. You're going to have a plethora of second-round draft picks coming up as well. Maluk is a guy, a defensive, again, just a defensive presence that you cannot teach, right? Like 7'2", you can't teach big. And he's the one thing that I would say with him, like he's not going to be able to stretch the floor, but you have enough shooters around him that he's going to be able to get isolations in down on the block. The one thing that I do not like about his game, that I cannot stand about his game, is that he cannot take dudes off the dribble. He is so bad at dribbling the basketball. But if you can get him in an isolation and maybe he doesn't get double teamed because of the amount of shooters you have around him, he could be effective. I think he'll be much better than DeAndre Ayton was. I think the ceiling for him is much higher than it was for DeAndre Ayton. And he doesn't have to be the guy. Like he can go in there and just be himself because you have so many stars that are already there in Phoenix. I think this is a tremendous pick for the Phoenix Suns.
Okay. And so,
even though it went to Houston, he's going to Phoenix.
Yeah, and I do have to say we're gonna skip over number 11, the second youngest in the NBA draft, 3 days older than Cooper Flag. Noah Isingwe has gone to the Chicago Bulls at number 12. He and Cooper are this is a young draft class. Both of them are 18, and that means Noah's birthday is in December as well, since he's only 3 days older than Cooper. A question posed here. Oh, Tip, I know I told you we're only going to do the top 10, but you're such a basketball head. It's just been super fun. Got a question here from Ryan. Let's put it up for you so we can rehash that. He said, "What's up, Tip? You know, I'm a Pistons fan. What piece does Detroit need to add to reach the ECF?"
It's such a tough one for me because I think that Detroit now, given the injuries that we've seen in the Eastern Conference, Detroit along with New York has to be considered one of the best two teams. So if I'm Detroit, I just resign the guys that I have, right? Like I try not to make a whole bunch of splash here. You don't have a first round draft pick, so you're not going to be drafting anybody. I wouldn't spend a whole lot in free agency because you've got to be able to save some money in order to sign guys long term. Just re-sign the guys you have and run it back. Remember, you took the Knicks to the brink. The Knicks took the Pacers to the brink as well, right? Like it could have just been a couple of bounces and you could have been that team. You could have been the Indiana Pacers. The Eastern Conference to me is wide open because of all those Achilles injuries that we mentioned, right? Milwaukee, they're probably not going to be as good because of Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo wants out. Boston, they're not going to be as good. We see them right now. They're shedding all kinds of salary to make a move. That's what it comes down to, right? Like you don't have enough money to do what it is that you want to do. Boston's not going to be as good as what they were. Indiana, Tyrese Halliburton rupturing his ACL in game 7 of the NBA Finals. He's pretty much done for the remainder of the 25-26 season. So now you've leapfrogged 3 teams here that you thought were so much better than you. The Pistons to me are a good team. I wouldn't change much on that team if I change anything. Maybe another outside shooter. Maybe you get rid of Tim Hardaway Jr. and bring in somebody else that can shoot the ball for you a little bit more consistently than Tim Hardaway Jr. But I really like the current construction of the Detroit Pistons, which is something I didn't think I would have said at the beginning of this year.
Yeah, and it's only right. So I hope that answers your question, right? I hope, and it's only right since we jumped over to number 12 as we get ready to wrap up. Number 11 was another Duke player, Tip, none other than Isaiah Evans, Portland Trail Blazers, the wing out of Duke. So Duke is stacked in this top 10 and now going in over past number 11 and 12 as well. Tip, always a great show with you.
It's crazy. It's crazy to me that Duke has that many players going in like the top 15 and couldn't win a national championship.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's the thing. All of these guys, like there was a couple of them, you know, with him and Khan, definitely freshmen that had they stay with the team, you know, was predicted to run it back. But let's be clear, because I'm a Duke fan. The Bruiser brothers are coming in. Okay. And they are predicted to take Duke all the way again. So Carolina fans out there that watch this show, don't get your hopes up just yet. Connecticut, none of you guys, don't even worry about it because we're going to run it back again. You heard it here first. Say the clip, mentally check it, whatever you got to do. It's Duke all day, every day. And even though, you know, we wish Cooper and Khan and Malachi and all these gentlemen that have gone into the draft that are now professional NBA players the best, we are going to run it back. What is your biggest news tip here as we get ready to wrap up? I know I keep saying it, but before you know it, it'll be our whole hour. And I'll be like, yeah, he stayed the whole hour.
I mean, you want me to stay the whole hour? I can go the whole hour. I got no problem with it.
Okay, I mean, well, listen.
We're already at 38 minutes. We might as well just go the next 22. Yes. Right? Like, might as well.
This is why I love you. This is why you're my friend. And I've missed you. And since, you know, I haven't seen you in forever. And you're such a basketball nerd. Like you literally can like explain things. Like some of the stuff you said, I was just like, dang, I never thought about that. So, you know, having you here is great. So I guess we got enough time to go up to maybe number 20 because we're on number 13 now. Atlanta Hawks are on the clock. They just picked and they are picking. Let's see. That's what the team needs is a shot brawler. They still got Asa Newell is still on there. How about I hope they pick Asa so he stays in Atlanta. He stays in Georgia.
No, I want him to go to San Antonio. San Antonio's picking right now 14. I want him to go to San Antonio because it gives San Antonio the depth at the big position.
I know you do, but I'm hoping because he is a big name and you guys do need that depth. But I guess I'm kind of like how Khan is staying in Charlotte and staying in the Carolinas. I'm thinking like I love when teams do that. Just a small plug. That's why Falcons fans really had a problem with Carolina because Cam went to Charlotte for the Panthers and he's an Atlanta native. So yeah. So who was the announcement? What's the announcement? Because I missed it. My team is lagging. My TV's lagging.
I am looking up right now. I just saw the name. My computer refreshed on me, so I'm trying to wait for it to go ahead and give me what it was. But I know it was not Asa Newell.
It is not Asa Newell.
No, it is Derek Queen. They drafted Derek Queen.
Oh my gosh. What are you doing, Atlanta? No. There's the pick now. I see it.
But that's the thing, right? Like they needed a big I guess now in like
Maryland.
This positionless basketball, like you don't get like he's listed as a center, but he's only 6'9", right? So that's more for me. That's more like a power forward. But we got positionless basketball now. I can't see a dude 6'9" guarding a 7'3" Victor Wembanyama. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make sense to me. But it makes me happy as a Spurs fan because it means my guy is there. I assure you, the Spurs are more than likely not going to draft Asa Newell. I want them to. I feel like they're not going to. They're going to let me down. I know that they've been linked to a European player. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Yeah. Let me pull his name up. I had it up earlier. The guy with all the I saw him earlier. He has like a big hair. Because as soon as they said he was European, I was like, he might be my cousin. Because I'm always like looking for. My mom is, and so I'm always looking. And good evening to everybody coming on. We see all the views here. Thank you so much, guys. Don't be afraid to come in and say hello. Let us know if you're looking for a certain player on your team. If you got a question about the draft, I got the sports expert here for basketball here tonight with me, Mike Tipton, the Tipping Point. Make sure you guys check him out. Is it 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock Eastern time? Did you on Tip?
It's 8 o'clock Mountain Time, 10 o'clock Eastern Time.
Yeah, I feel like every time I go on there, I see it. I guess that's what time I finally get up and get stirring around. But it's always a great show, and he's very great about explaining things. You guys heard me ask him earlier about explaining this trade stuff, which is crazy to me. So these players could be thinking they're going somewhere, and it's like, Well,
and what it does too is it leaves leeway for teams to be like, you know what? I don't know if I want to do this.
Yes.
So it'll be like that's never happened in the NBA, at least not in like recent memory. I don't think it's happened, but I'm sure someone's going to be out there like it happened in 1942 with this player. Like, look, guys, I don't care about 1940s basketball. I care about now, right? It hasn't happened, but it leaves. It's kind of the same thing that the NBA has during free agency, which they have the moratorium period. So you have a certain amount of days where you can say, you know what? I don't like
buyer's remorse.
Yeah. So the lemon law. We can just call it the lemon law.
That's yes, the lemon law. So I think the player you're talking about is Noah Esingwe.
No.
Is that who you're talking about?
No.
Has he been pulled yet?
No, he has been pulled. He was pulled by
Okay, he's already been pulled.
By the Bulls.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. Let me get this guy's name up here. But they just compared Derek Queen to Cooper. They had him like some type of Boilers Academy that they said they had like a overall comparisons. So that's pretty big for Atlanta.
So the player that's linked to the San Antonio Spurs is a center named Johan Behringer. He is out of Setvina, Olympia.
Oh, no, I haven't seen him.
Yeah.
And I wonder if he's the one that they introduced up there. He's got like his hair out, but he looks like he may be like mixed.
Yeah. No, he's got a big old fro and everything. So
no, that's him then.
Yeah.
I just didn't realize. Okay, yeah. They did pronounce his name as Johan. Every time I hear Johan, I think about the Smurfs.
Okay, so the Spurs are up right now making their pick.
Do you remember Johan from the Smurfs?
I have never seen the Smurfs in my life.
Oh my goodness, the Smurfs is like my favorite cartoon. Those and the Flintstones.
Okay, so I like the pick the Spurs did right now. You'll see in just a little bit. They drafted Carter Bryant. He's a wing player out of Arizona. Again, like that's what they really needed a lot of help
I
with was
see
like
that.
outside shooting. And like I think he's going to wind up being like one of these 3-and-D guys. He's kind of like Jeremy Shohan if you're a San Antonio Spurs fan, but with like more range, more shooting ability. So I kind of like what the Spurs are doing here because again, like we play positionless basketball, right? Like there's no such thing as a traditional 5 or a traditional 1 anymore. And I think what the Spurs are doing is they're saying, look, Victor Wembanyama is big enough that he can guard the entire paint area by himself. You funnel guys in right there, and I think that I think that the Spurs are just going, look, we'll have perimeter defense, funnel everyone into Victor Wembanyama, let him get his blocks, because let's remember, 2 years ago, he should have been the only rookie to have ever won the Defensive Player of the Year award. He averaged 2 more blocks a game than Rudy Gobert did, and just as many defensive rebounds. They just never want to give the Rookie of the Year to a defense or to a or Player of the Year to a rookie. So for me, I like the pick. It's not who I wanted because I wanted Asa Newell, and I hope that he goes somewhere that's not in the Western Conference because I feel like he's going to beat up on the San Antonio Spurs if he does go in the Western Conference.
And I thought the other guy you were thinking about was Kasparis Johansson. I think that's the one. Mm-hmm. What kind of outfit has Carter Bryant got on? My goodness. He doesn't even have a shirt on under that jacket.
Well, I mean, if you got muscles like that, you're the one who's going to the gym all the time. You know, if you got muscles like that you gotta show them off a little bit.
Well, I mean, you can't really see his muscles. It's just more of his chest. And I just think of how hot that suit has to be that you don't have anything under there. Like, you've got to be perspiring. I hope he's using Dove Whole Body or Happy Nuts, Tip.
There we go. Yeah. I hope he's using the Happy Nuts whole body deodorant. It keeps you smelling good. It's made with aloe. Use promo code Mike Tipton at checkout, www.myhappynuts.com.
Absolutely. See how I can plug that in there? Great segue. I had to get you to do a shout out. Make sure you guys hit him up, for that coupon code, because guys need to smell fresh too. They got all kind of stuff out there for girls all the time, sprays and peels and everything.
The way that I say it, from your pits to your tip, you got to make sure you're smelling fresh.
Oh, okay. You guys heard it here first. All right. So I cannot believe that Asa Newell is still on the board. The OKC Thunder are on the clock, your world champions, and in 4 minutes they will be choosing. Yeah.
And I can see them drafting Asa Newell. This is what my fear was. And this is the thing that people need to remember about Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City, even though they won the championship, they have 13 draft picks over the next 4 years, right? Like we talked about how many the Brooklyn Nets have right now. Let's talk about those 13. Like, they have the ability to go through and make a dynasty right now. And for me, Oklahoma City's got to be like terrifying. No matter what they do, it's probably going to be the right pick because they have so much depth on that team. But it's also what it also means is that some of that depth that they have on the team can start, going out in free agency.
That is so crazy though, because Asa Newell is the one with the big hair. He's out of Georgia, so it's not the European one.
Well, the European one also has big hair.
Okay, I missed him because they're showing their pictures now. You'll see it in a second. That Yukonis Kasparis. These are all the big players. There's Thomas Sorber, Jamal. Is that Jamie Richardson? I can't see well. Somebody Fleming. Those guys are all up. And right now, literally, I think round 1, we only have 2 more picks actually in round 1. So we actually got folks through round 1 here, Tip.
No. It'll be the top 15 here in the first part of round 1. Round 1 has 30 teams picking.
I was wondering, what does the screen up here say? Okay, maybe they're talking about Oklahoma's picks that they have. They have a second round at number 44.
And this is one of the things too, like the reason why I think the Spurs more than likely didn't draft a big is because Gershon Yabusele, who was on the French national team, gave the United States a whole bunch of fits in that gold medal game just last year. he's been linked to going to San Antonio. So that might be the reason why. Like, once again, you get a guy that played
Oh
with
my
Victor
God.
Wembanyama on the national team with the San Antonio Spurs. That might be something that the Spurs are looking at right now. So Yabusele being linked to the Spurs might be the reason why they went with the wing. They went with 2 wings in the first round.
Yeah, and the Spurs your number one team? I know you kind of
Yeah.
follow all things Texas.
Yeah, no. So like I love basketball, but whenever it comes to like what my favorite team is, it will always be the San Antonio Spurs. I was born on Jordan's birthday in his rookie year, so I
Yes,
followed a lot of Jordan stuff.
217.
And whenever Jordan retired for the first time, I was like, look, I'm not a Bulls fan, I'm a Jordans fan. I got to find me a team. And David Robinson was looking like a superhero. I don't know if you remember how
Yes.
David Robinson was. He was super Christian at the time. I was super Christian as well, and it just felt like a perfect fix, especially with Avery Johnson being on the team, the little general. He was 5'11". I knew I was going to be the shortest guy there, so I fell in love with like that 1994 San Antonio Spurs team that had like Antoine Carr and J.R. Reed with the team. Like that was Vinny Del Negro. Vinny Del Negro follows me on X, so that's one of
Oh,
the coolest things.
cool.
But like that team right there with the San Antonio Spurs, that's what made me fall in love with them.
Oh my goodness. You know what, Tip? Even though you were born not that long ago, the fact that you just seem so like beyond your time, because like the mailman, the answer, all the early 90s.
I mean, I was born in 1984. Come on now. That feels like forever ago.
It does. But I guess because there's like okay, I guess you're right. When you said Jordan's rookie year, I don't know. For some reason, I'm thinking championship, and my mind just went to the 90s. That's why I was like, well, how the heck is Tip? Because,
Well, and with me, like I missed out on the Magic and Larry Bird
yeah,
era.
the Bird era.
Like, I fell in love with basketball because of that 1992 Dream Team. I was 8 years old and watching what that team did. Once again, you had Karl Malone, you had Patrick Ewing, you had David Robinson on that team. It was just such a stacked roster that whenever you were watching that with the Olympics, it was something that made me fall in love with basketball. And I tell people all the time, basketball will always be my very first love. Like I love that game. So I watched the Summer League, I watched the G League. I'm that much of a basketball.
Yeah. Let me tell you, people have always asked me before I got into podcasting. I used to be like that about basketball, like all the time. I mean, I couldn't wait for the NBA season. I played recreation ball when I was in middle school. I tried to make the high school team. I didn't make it, but the last year, I tried out like I think twice. I was the water girl the second time just so I could travel with the team. And the coach was like, you should go out for the team. I was like, no, I don't want to be cut. And she was like, but you probably have really worked on your game. You'd be really good. But I didn't do it. My brother was like a star basketball player for our school. And so I just stuck with track and other stuff. But basketball used to be exactly where it's at. And now that, I kind of like check out once my Hornets or Hawks are not in it anymore. But doing this job, doing podcasts, and you got to know what's going on, and it starts out as me like, let me watch the enemies, let me see what my rivals are doing, and then before you know it, you're watching all the leagues. So that's how it kind of starts out. But basketball is so exciting.
And for me, like this past NBA final, like if you didn't get excited with basketball with this past NBA final, you were nothing but a hating ass hater. Sorry.
Yeah,
that's who you are. Like you just hate basketball. You hate fun.
You didn't want to see the Thunder. Now, speaking of the Thunder, Thomas Sorbear has just been picked at number 15 out of Georgetown. So feels like we must have skipped over 13. And what's happening here?
So number 13 was Derek Queen. We were talking about that. Number 14 was Bryant that got drafted to the San Antonio Spurs. Sorber being drafted by the Oklahoma City Thunder. We were talking about they need a little bit of more depth.
Okay.
That's exactly what they did.
Felt like that ran by. Okay, let's back up for a second while we're waiting for them. This is something you and I kind of talked about before we started the live tip. I know you said you saw Ron Harper there. I did not see him go up on the stage or to the side of the stage like we've seen everybody else's families. I wonder why, especially with him being a five-time champion in the NBA, and you don't walk up to the stage with your son. I don't know what's going on with that.
There's a part of me that's like, as a dad, I would be there for like my kid, but then there's a part of me that's like, if I was playing in the NBA and I won as many championships as Ron Harper did, and I have that background, I kind of stay in the background because it's my son's moment, right? Like I want him to get all the love and adoration that he deserves. So it might just be that personal decision to look, this is your moment. I'm not going to take anything away from you. You go out there, you live this moment to the best of your ability.
Because maybe they'll start talking about him before you know it. It's like, 5 times. Da, da, da. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Your friend Tommy has a question here. He said, what are you watching if it was on at the same time as the Spurs game? 7 NBA Game 7 championship game or a Cowboys Super Bowl. No cop-outs. You have to watch one or the other.
So I was going to say, I just bring another TV into the living room, and that's the way that I do it. Like
I've done that. I've had 2 monitors, literally.
The TV that you see me moving on right here, I could just move that up and move it over there and there. But if I only had one TV and I could only watch one thing, I am watching my Dallas Cowboys in the Super Bowl. I've said it a bunch of times because you always get these hypothetical questions, right? Like if you could only choose one of your favorite sports teams, what would that team be? For me, the Yankees are going bye-bye. My Vegas Golden Knights are going bye-bye. My San Antonio Spurs are going bye-bye. I am watching my Dallas Cowboys as much as I possibly can. Sonia, which one of your teams would be that team that you say everyone else has got to go kick rocks?
Yeah, I was just about to say the Panthers. And I'm going to tell you my biggest regret tip. I hope I live long enough to see the Panthers go to the Super Bowl again. I had an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. Some of a lot of people that know me know I started the all-female fan club for the team. A lot of them were trying to get together to basically say, hey, we could get you to the Super Bowl, blah, 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 blah. I was like, well, I want to take my significant other. Big mistake. Now I'm single. And I don't know if my team will ever go again. I should have. Listen, if I ever have a significant other again, and the Panthers go back, I'm going to be like, listen, you have to watch me on TV. I'm never going to pass up an opportunity, especially free. Like people were going to support me to go, sponsor me to go. And now it's been 10 years and I don't know if they'll ever get back. And I just feel like that was an opportunity missed. So I say all that to say, absolutely my Carolina Panthers. My biggest dream, honestly, Tip, is to sing the national anthem at a Panthers home game. But I want them to introduce me. I actually do sing.
So we need to make that happen. I will. I don't know who I got to write to, what I got to do. We will make this happen.
I actually had a sample on my page years ago that I sang the national anthem, but I kept the lights and stuff off because I didn't want anybody to know it was me. So I just sang on Facebook Live. I'm gonna have to see if Facebook gives me all my other memories, but I don't see that one. So. But everybody was like, "Who is that?"
So I guess what I can do is like, if you don't mind flying out to El Paso, I will find a way to make you sing the national anthem for the El Paso Chihuahuas. We'll put that on tape. I will make sure we get this working.
I will listen. Let me put that on my calendar. Like, let's make that really happen because anywhere that I can, I've been a singer. Me and my sister actually, we wanted to be in vogue growing up. We used to practice after school. We had a couple other friends that sang really well. We got into a talent show. And they probably would have won it, but it was judged by our teachers. And my choreography is not good. And so they told them that, you guys can compete really well, but you got to get rid of Sonya because she cannot get the dance steps down. And so they chose to boot me out of the group, but I was one of the lead singers. So I'm like, yeah, go ahead then, But we still sing. And it's just I sing all the time, like every day I'm singing something, and I write my own stuff too, so it's just something that's always in my pastime. Like I just love music. So yeah,
let me figure out who I got to talk to, and we'll find a way to make this stuff happen.
Thank you. I might be just doing your Happy Nuts commercial, like Happy Nuts.
A little Happy Nuts with some soul. I like it.
Yes, Happy Nuts. Yeah, make your nuts sing. Oh gosh. Okay, we got the number 18 pick is in the T-Wolves, who sold their team, Tip. They got unanimously voted today to sell their team to this dude that plays baseball. Did you guys say that correctly?
Yes, Alex Rodriguez has been he went through a process that's called step ownership. He actually became a minority owner with the Minnesota Timberwolves back in 2022, and it was a pathway to ownership to get to the number one spot. The whole deal was supposed to go through about a year and a half ago, but the current owner, or the former owner now of the Timberwolves, put a block on it because even though they sold for $1.5 billion, he agreed to sell for $1.5 billion. That year, they got valued at $5.2 billion. And he wanted Alex Rodriguez and his crew to pay that extra. They had the paperwork, they went to court, they did all kinds of stuff. The NBA, along with the federal government, agreed that, look, you sold this to Alex Rodriguez for 1.5. So now Alex Rodriguez buys the team. I think I got the number wrong. I think it's 3.5. But either way, Alex Rodriguez buys the team, and now they are valued at double, if not almost triple, what he bought the team for in this step process to get there. So he's already sitting pretty.
He already is with his baseball career. So, and the Lynx also, that it was a package duo, the WNBA team, to Love and Rodriguez. So, I mean, those guys got it done. Of course, their pick is in the number 18. Okay. They've got a guy here.
Yeah, they got Yang Hansen from China. Again, like they need bigs, right? They need someone to help out with Rudy Gobert. The difference between he and Rudy Gobert is that he's a little bit of a better shooter. So he can shoot from the mid-range. He's not going to stretch the floor all the way out to the three-point line, but he gives you someone that's a viable option from 18 to 16 feet that can make a steady jump shot. So this is like more of your traditional center that can actually shoot the ball a little bit. So I think that's going to be a great pickup for Minnesota, because that's something that's going to help them out with depth. And as we saw, the issue they had was keeping Gobert out of foul trouble. Now you have another guy that can help you out on the offensive and defensive side at your number 5 position.
And I already see, so this was pick number 18?
16.
So they're saying, okay, 17 is up. Minnesota's up again. And then Washington is up. Tip, we are at the top of the hour. Did you want to stay up to 20 or you want to wrap it up here?
If we can wrap it up, because I got to make myself some dinner.
And you got to make sure you plug in your Happy Nuts. Tip, always great to have you on here. You guys have saw us cover the top 16 draft picks in the 2025 NBA draft. More to come. And as Tip explained earlier, some switcheroos could still occur. But congratulations to all those top picks. Tip, thank you so much for always joining me. You guys check him out on the Tipping Point, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. Correct, Tip?
That is correct. You can catch me Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, right here, National Streaming Sports, obviously on my YouTube channel, at Mr. Tipton 33 is where you can find me on all social media. And then obviously check out the No BS Show with Sonia Pearson and our guy, Bistrilla. Bistrilla always giving us a little bit of love and a little bit of support as well. And yes, Tommy, I am a local celebrity. I'm like, you have like A-list and B-list celebrities? I'm like the Z-list celebrity.
No, you're at least a double A. Just keep it in the top A's. Thanks for that shout out. Of course, the No BS Show tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tip, we're going to have you on there sometime soon. You can always drop in. The link will be the same as it is tonight. Just pop in and show us. And we got to get some updated pictures too, so we can get you on our little promos there as well. But Tip, always great to have you. Enjoy the rest of the draft. Thank you, Tommy, for all the comments and the support tonight. Thank you, everybody that dropped in and said hello and kept us going tonight. Thank you, Ryan, as well, and all of your friends, Tip, that you brought along. And Tip and I will bid you guys a good night. We'll see you soon.
We not lose a man a winner, and that's for certain. Never take no program, come me and me own dance. So me go and shot. Tell them I'm a winner, yeah. Not pop down, not Joe, not turn in a sinner.